Hi, I'm Victoria.
And I'm Braxton.
We live on 10 acres in the southern Missouri Ozarks. Follow along with us as we transform raw land into a working homestead with gardens of all kinds, an orchard, and animals all around. We will raise our own meat, preserve our own produce, and every day are working towards self-sustainability. Thanks for watching. Hello everyone, good morning. Well, I'm over here by the shed because the sun is so bright, my eyes are so sensitive to light, but I didn't want to wear my sunglasses. Anywho, today we're going to be working on day one of the chicken run build. I'm going to kind of walk you through what we're going to be doing over there, what's the plan for that, and so you can see that. Thanks for sticking around with us. Let's get into it. Having fun?
Yeah,
Is it easier?
it's definitely easier with this, but still it's not the greatest.
No. That's what you get for the rocky clay that we have here. But he is getting them done. We have so many done. Let's get back to it. Okay, well, while I walk over here, this run is actually going to be quite massive. That's why we waited to catch other things up, especially working in the garden, before we got this started, because this is going to be most of everything we do. So we will alternate between this project being done and also the garden plantings. So today I will also be planting a tray of microgreens, but first let's do a walk around. Okay, so here we are. This whole thing is actually quite massive. It's somewhere around 2,000 square feet. Here we have, let me step back. So this building here is the coop that the chickens are in, and it is pretty large. This is an 8x12, and this backside is where, you know, we've got the feed, we've got the accessibility. So underneath, everywhere that's exposed, that'll be closed up with hardware cloth, similar to how the other building is with the ducks, so nothing can get under, including chickens. Out from the side, it goes all the way out. It goes all the way over here and cuts down and goes all the way that way. This section over here, there will be a secondary smaller pen right here. And that'll be just for a couple chickens that'll rotate through some of the more specific breeding programs. This is a lot larger than it actually looks. It'll actually be about 3x20, and we're only talking, you know, one to two chickens at a time in here, pretty much on this side. Then from about here, I've only come in, you know, that 3 feet. This is still open to the run, accessible for all of the chickens. This is not in the run. It actually goes as if you're right here, cuts down and cuts that way. It's a little square cutout. Why? The property line is up over here, but these actually, we're going to be clearing all this stuff out, and we're going to be diverting water that way. So we did cut the pin, and then that stump will be coming out, and all that's going to be getting cleaned up. Over here in this portion, there will be another building, basically a room attached off this building, that'll come out here to the ground, and it will be elevated, even though there will be hardware cloth under here. This whole run will be completely you know, proof. We'll have wire buried down. We'll have dual wire all the way around it. It'll have a topper on it, but still, just to be cautious, this will be raised up, and this is where our quail will be. This will be our quail area. We won't keep a ton at a time, but we will want them for meat and eggs. This area here is where the door opens. So this door will open. It will stay open. It will be adhered open. and they'll have all this area. So this is what they'll come out to. All the trees, the stumps, the down trees that you see, they will be left just to let them, the stuff's breaking down. There's bugs, there's everything to scratch through. So we're going to leave this pretty much all natural for them to go through. And some of the areas that got divoted out, dug out, they'll be adjusted and smoothed for a couple. There'll be one here and one right here for dust bath stations for them. And then the blackberry bushes that are in here, they were thinned down, so I've only let a few come back. I've got them pretty much right here in this row, and when they come back, you know, they like to eat that stuff. So I just kept them super minimal, and we're going to keep them trimmed down so they don't get overwhelming, but we're going to let these ones live. This tree, you'll see when we go over there, we're going to let that go. That'll give them some cover, somewhere to get up into if they wanted to, because it'll be inside of their run. It will be cut to fit into the run. On this side of the building, again, it'll be covered. There will be a whole another room that comes off this, and this will be our heated brooder area. So we'll be able to have them secured inside of a building, inside of the secure pen with heat. And we'll be able to run a light and things here because we will get solar hooked up for this, as well as we have the backup with the generator. So they'll be here. Assuming, you know, we will, if we do have a hen go broody, we're going to let her do her thing, but we will be hatching out and various poultry, and so we will be creating a brooder space, and this will be approximately 3 or 4 feet wide by 12 feet long. Comes out to a corner, comes down, and then we do have a doorway that'll be here. We will have a break in the berries, so the berry line's here, berry line goes all the way down here. We still have more to put in. This right here will be a walking way down here to meet the greenhouse. This is easy for when we need to toss stuff out, if we want to give them out blueberries. We have water tanks right here, so this has been a very convenient location. And then this will be a good walkway. This whole thing was already planned that way. It comes all the way out, and Braxton came through today already. Got all these holes prepped, we got them all measured out, so that's awesome. This plum tree, hopefully when it is in production, that'll be great to have right here, also with the blackberries. And then there's just a ton of other stuff in here. And then I'm going to be planting in a section of this, so I will fence it off inside the run to allow it to grow up, and I will cover it with wire across so they're not able to scratch, but they're able to eat. And so I'll remove the fencing when it gets tall enough and that's all set up, and then I'll do that in different sections to give them a little something to have. They'll come, this is the tree I was saying, it's right here. It'll cut off right at the top, and it's not going to be cut off too much to be trimmed down to where it needs to be. It's already pretty good height. This is the back corner, so there will be another walk that comes here, and it actually cuts naturally all the way around to get back here. We have a compost started back there, and our turkeys and stuff, so the birds are all going to be relatively close. These trees will go, actually a lot of trees are going to be used for this project, but over time we'll work through them. It's a lot of trees and not a lot of hours in a day. It comes over here, this tree that's bent crooked like this, it will be cut and it will be used. This is just from the wind, so I'll move that, and it goes all the way back up there. Inside of this run, not only do we have the brooder over there, quail, a little bit of a run for some egg specifics, But we will also have, there, you can't really tell, but it comes here and then it completely squares out and goes that way. And that area will be a little bit separate, but there will be our rabbits inside of this secure run. So this is definitely dual purpose. That's why it's absolutely massive, the size of a house. So some of these things will be cleaned up, most of them will not. This is all divoted area, so our rabbit hutches will be able to be together, and most of this run will be wire. However, where the rabbits are on 3 sides will be solid. So everybody will be good and safe and protected, and just having extra measures here and there will just be ideal. So when you come up on it, this is what it'll be, and it'll go all the way around and all the way up there and here. So they're gonna have a ton of room. And so yeah, this will just be for chickens and the rabbits and the brooder and the quail and things like that. Now the guineas, the turkeys, the ducks, they're all in separate pens. The ducks, we've got some brooding, we've got some more coming, and so this temporary pen that they're in will be no more. They're gonna get a whole massive area over there as well. And then that'll be more for another type of bird that I won't tell you yet when they're done, because as soon as Robert's house and stuff is placed up on the other half of the property, the ducks will get their permanent large pen and run attached over there to the pond. Now all the birds, they will be, I'll come over to the garden for a second. The birds will be free range to a certain extent on a certain schedule, and not everybody all at once. That is because of an aerial predator issue more so. Now we do have the dogs, and they do great with the birds. We haven't had a problem yet, but it's just best that when they're out free ranging, we're here to monitor and everything can be shipshape. So they will be trained to do that, you know, coming and going and all those things. But we do want full-size runs and full-size houses and things, so that if they can't get out, they're still having plenty of room and living their best life, so to speak. Another thing is, right now we just have Julian, but we do hope to get at least 2 to 3 females and another buck for our rabbitry. We don't have them yet, we just have Julian, but eventually we will be doing that. In addition, we will have a couple of others because my son will be working on showing them, so that is a little bit different. That's a different program, and but everybody will be super safe with the new setup. Hopefully tomorrow I will sneak peek you in that we did get our delivery finally from Stark Rose, so we will do an unboxing of that. I'm so excited because our lemon trees are in there and we cannot wait to get them going. There'll be nothing like fresh lemonade when we can get it. I'll do this last little portion in here so you can see how big these guys have gotten. It's nice and quiet in here right now. They were all just sleeping. These guys are just the best. They are so friendly and just, they're getting so beautiful. It's awesome. We've only got one rooster in the bunch that we ordered, and just as friendly. Pretty sure we know which is which, but they're all stretching. They were just all over here sleeping. So in here, there's a lot that still needs to be done. We'll be doing nest box station over here. We still have to get all the roosts finished now that everybody is getting big, and we'll still put in the other window, and then he'll still have the solar setup that'll get mounted onto the wall. So these guys will have quite the coop here. We will have more chickens in another coop and another run up on the other half of the property, and they will hang out and follow the cows around up there. So busy. We do like to go, more of how Justin Rhodes, Joel Salatin. We're going to hopefully be able to make everybody work together, humans and animals, to get accomplished everything we need to accomplish, turn everything over. They both took forested land, land you could barely even see through actually, and transformed it over. So little by little, day by day, we are working towards that for just our middle section. And so hopefully they have a nice view too. Hopefully it'll all work out really well. They were eating some of the radishes that didn't quite grow. They were munching on those earlier. It is warm in there. Whew. So lots of stuff out here, busy. The next step in here and actually doing all these holes and marking all this out took quite some time today. And I'm going to get some microgreens started. But our next step is we will go around and we will be finding the posts to measure out, cut, get in here. We'll need to then concrete and rock those in. And then we will be able to run our supports all the way around throughout the top and the bottom and get our door built. And I think we're going to go with netting for the top. We're not 100% sure yet, so we'll be checking on that because it is pretty extensively wide. At the back part here, we've got this, so we'll enclose these two sides to the house. But then this portion, it's about 22 wide down there. Back here is about 29. And then it's about 64 feet on this side and about 70 on that side, because that side kind of curves down. So it's huge. Yeah, so stay tuned for part 2. This is going to be our biggest project yet. We have done tons of research, tons of writing it up, and hopefully we will be able to execute it just as well as anticipated. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. Let's plant some microgreens. Okay, so I'm in the greenhouse and I'm going to get some microgreens started. I'm going to start this tray here and this tray here. So what I have in here is you can use like growing medium. You can use some of the potting mix. I probably wouldn't unless you're going to sift it. But also you can use the seed starting mix, Jiffy. And when I looked it up, that's just the best option for me. It's what is available where I am, and that's what I can afford to use. So I've got it in here. Now, what needs to happen from here is I need to get this moist. Before I even put my microgreen seeds in here, I need to get this wet. Then I will sow my seeds through here, and I will put this, I'm repurposing these, as you can see from the ones that I didn't have, because there's no reason to go and get new when I've had these. So I will pop this over top, and that will take the light away, and that'll be best for these specific seeds to germinate. Once I open it up and I see that we've got really good germination rate, usually in a couple days, then I will get them with light, and when they are about 2 to 3 inches long, I will come through with very sharp scissors and cut them just above the soil line. And I will be washing mine. You do lose about 2 to 3 days of storage length if you wash them, but I am gonna go ahead and wash them and run them through a spinner because I sell them. So I'm going to go ahead and get this moist. I'm going to go grab the seeds that we will be starting, and I will bring you back. Okay, and just like that, we're back. I'll be doing kale, red and white Russian, rainbow mix, and broccoli. And on these, it's great. They tell you this is a nutty flavor, this is spicy, and then it tells you that this is mild. So I'll be growing 1 1/2 of this, 1 1/2 of that, and then one by itself in the other one. So I'm going to get this soil ready to go. Okay, so now when you do this, on the back of your seed packs, it'll tell you the days to germination, and it'll show you how deep, how far apart, when the height to harvest them at, and how many days to harvest. If there's any special instructions, they'll be here. So these ones in particular are only supposed to be at about 1/8 of an inch deep. So what I did was, you're basically, a lot of them are surface sowing. Now, let's see if I see how they're not that big. And yeah, I took it and I sprinkled it all over the top after this was good and moist. This is very moist. And now I just barely lightly dribbled some soil over top to reach that 1/8 inch. We don't want to overdo. So now I will put this lid on it, and that will act as my lid to keep out the light and allow those to germinate in there. This is our rainbow mix. This is the one that's got a spicy flavor. This one I love. So that is that one. Now let's move on to the other ones. This one again says 2 to 3 days to germination, 1/8 inch deep, 1/4 inch apart, harvest at 1 to 2 inches, 8 to 12 days. All 3 of these ones I'm doing have the same instructions, which is pretty standard of most microgreens. You'll cover it for a couple days until you get majority germination. Then you'll open it up and give it some light. Now, you can put heat mats under these, and that'll speed germination. People have a lot of fancy setups where they have grow lights everywhere, and these are on stands. So when you're in an apartment, or you have a smaller space, or you just have some open basement space, and you can throw up one of those 4 or 5 tier stands, and you can put multiple trays and hang lights. That would be awesome and ideal. Unfortunately, we are off grid, and I'm already pushing the limits with my seed starting with my lights and my heat lamp, or my heat mats. So these ones are in the greenhouse, and they will it's very warm in here, but I'm not going to heat mat these ones. There are some that I will heat mat, and those will go inside as the seeds inside transition to hydroponic buckets. I will give you an update on those when we're done with this, and we'll just rotate it through that way. We're trying to see what we can do and what works, combining what we used to do and what we've been learning to transition to using less and less electricity as needed. The things that when we're brooding, that'll be all transferred over like we discussed earlier in the video. With solar, we're slowly getting more and more things converted over. Eventually, everything will be, and that'll be awesome. So then, when these, if you're not going to do this, speed it up by heat mats, or having extra light, you could just see a little bit of a delay is what we've noticed. The heat mat, not so much difference, but the light, I noticed a couple days delay. Now I'm going to go ahead and get this one ready to go. When I am mixing up, I am in here, trying to make sure it's moist but also fluffy. I start seeds the same way. Now, having a flat bottom pan, would have been easier, but again, we are repurposing, which is what I personally prefer to do best I can. Once I know all the water that I put in here has been used up, that's when I'll say, okay, let's grab some more water. We just do the bucket method here. We don't have any hoses. And then I just Pour a little on there, set it to the side, and keep going. And I'll do this until I reach a nice consistency. That's just folding away, but is also retaining moisture. The number one thing with this is you cannot let your medium, which is what this is, dry out. And like I said, there is other ways that you can, other things you can get as a medium, but I'm not sure. But if you're like me, you're trying to save money and you can't use your medium again, so if you can get a bag of the seed starting mix and get a ton of trays out of it, that's what's ideal in our situation. So I'm just going to finish this up and then get it sprinkled on. All right, it's ready. So we're going to do this front half with the broccoli, and we're going to do this back half with the kale, red and white Russian. And what I'm going to do is I don't know, I just get super simple, and I'm just going to make an indentation. It's only me that's messing with it, so I'll know. Okay, now we're just going to sprinkle it on here. Just get it on, get it on, get it on. I think I'm going to do a little bit more than I originally thought I would do. Come on, little buddies. Okay. And then I'm just going to so barely just sprinkle a little bit. I had to turn the camera off for a second because to very lightly moisten the top so I don't have to sprayer. I just pour this onto my hand and go like this, and it just gives little droplets. But in order to do that, I have to have two hands. So I'm going to repeat what I did over here with the kale on the other side, and then we will close it up, and these will be all done. We'll check back on them in a couple of days and see what we're doing when we go to the next stage. Okay, that's done. Before we get too far, a couple things to note. Number one, if you have the ability in your containers to bottom water, that's best. You need to keep your medium consistently moist, so if you put it in the bottom and it can continually suck that water up, that's ideal. In these trays specifically, since I'm reusing them, I can't do that, so I will be just using a spray bottle mister right at the base so that I'm not getting it on the leaves. But ideally and traditionally, what I would do would be to bottom water, so that's huge. Just wanted to point that out for everyone. You could also mix up your microgreens when you're planting, if they are the same directions and dates, or you can blend them when you're making mixes after harvest. So those would be my notes. We'll check back in on these and see how everything's going. These are all, let me verify, but I'm pretty sure. Yes, they are a 7 to 10 day, typically 7 to 8 days. So we will be checking in on these. Hopefully we'll be able to see the whole life cycle. Now, let's check back in on the hydroponics, because I know everybody wants to know, and we do have some good roots. This teeny tiny little Amish paste, if you remember, has grown, and we have some excellent root growth on this, considering it has only been a couple of days. Now, these were the Jet Stars, and we've got some great roots starting on these. I lost a pebble. I mean, just amazing, amazing. Let me put my pebbles back in there. This one is taped, but as you can see, we're getting some great growth there. That lid was a little bit messed up. Let's check in on our tomatillo. Again, excellent root growth. This has been wonderful. Matter of fact, when I get off here with you guys today, I will be starting some cucumber seeds and some other things that'll go in the rest of our buckets, because we're going to be starting another round of the buckets here within the next week here. So it'll be awesome. And there's our other broccoli. Let's check in. We can check in on these. I don't think I lifted these up at all. Oh, yep. We've got some great stuff growing. I'm loving this system. Highly recommend. When we come back and do more, I will, since so many people were interested across the YouTube and social media. What we will do is go through what the chemicals do. We will go through me actually starting a bucket start to finish so everybody can see the full process. And then we'll do an update on these. We'll explain what is Kratky hydroponics and how you can do this without any of the lights or the pumps or anything like that. So that'll be a huge video coming soon. Let's check in before we go on what is growing. This is a small sugar pie pumpkin. We've got mammoth sunflowers. We've got our watermelon. These are the mini watermelons. The ones, if you remember, I didn't have great luck with last year. I'm trying them again, and they're doing well. Everything over here has made it through the freeze, and we'll be ready to prep for another night of it tonight. But so far, everything on property did great. This guy over here is doing amazing. I'm going to be pinching the suckers off of that, and we'll be getting the rest of these planted. I was waiting for Thursday to get that because I wanted some of the more of the cold weather to get out. So that's what we've been up to around here. Thanks everybody for watching and spending today with me, and we will see you tomorrow.